What do you mean they made a Layton game for phones? I already divorced that device when it comes to gaming and haven't spoken to them since. What do I even say, man? You know what? No need to be scared. Communication is key. I'm sure if we talk properly, everything is gonna be fun. Layton Brothers Mystery Room is a spin-off game released exclusively on mobile devices. This might be the obscure game of the series. When it comes to Layton, I never saw anyone talk about this game, nor even being mentioned, not a single peep about it. Discussions are mainly about the mainline games and the fact that Catriel is God's worst invention on the planet, and the fact they made a crossover game like it's stated as a fun fact. I'm sure this game has its fans, but man, they're quite the minority. So what's this game about? It's simple. Imagine Ace Attorney with a Professor Layton spin on it. I had to get as many buzzwords in there as possible. Alright, comparing this game with the other games is night and day, barring the platform it resides on. Layton Brothers is a murder mystery detective game rather than a puzzle adventure game like the mainline Professor Layton games. As you can tell, I have quite the experience when it comes to detective games. Not really, I don't ever manage to talk about one series that's not even the greatest at it. So I will be offering my professional insight and opinion on whether this game is good or abysmal dog shit. There's no in between. I don't know, I like this game enough. It's certainly different in comparison to everything else, but hey, that's the power of spin-offs. The game follows Lucy Baker, joining the forces of being a detective and being put to work on investigating crime scenes alongside Alfendi Layton, Herschel Layton's brother. First time I've ever heard of a brother. This game features 9 cases to play through and a small prologue to introduce the main characters. I was kinda surprised a little bit when I finished the prologue. I did not expect it to be this short. And yeah, this game is the shortest Layton game in the series. So far, at least. My playthrough took 8 hours to get through and it was the most concise and to the point 8 hours I've ever played in my life. When I finished the first case, I was like, that's it? No unnecessary fluff, nothing of the sort. Here's a murder case, solve it, that's it. I actually appreciate this. I think more games that spend copious amounts of time having their characters yap for what feels like an eternity needs to take, some notes on this. Every case in this game plays exactly the same. There are a few exceptions, obviously, alongside the plot of the game, which I think was integrated pretty well. So basically, you get introduced to the case you're about to solve. To be honest, I don't know if it's necessary to have 2 moments back to back where they explain the case to you. First, it's Lucy Baker, presumably narrating at the start of every case, and she does mention what the case you're about to play is. Granted, I think it's a little bit more vague, which is where Alfendi comes in to give you the gist pretty much. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it is noticeable. Each case starts with Alfendi telling you what's your gut instinct saying about the case, followed up by multiple choice thing. I don't get this. This honestly feels like a waste of time to me. You're given a few choices here, because I didn't really understand what the game really wanted. I always select the investigate the crime scene option, in which you are given 5 minutes to investigate everything. I'm guessing this allows the player to create an image about the case and to see if they understood it or not first try, hence the calling the culprit out, yet you still investigate the crime scene later, so I'm not sure what the point of this is. Identify the killer immediately is for the people who clocked it right from the get-go, aka call the culprit button, but it's here now, unless they think that's what this is. Never used it. Ask for advice, I only chose it once, and funnily enough it was during a case where a family was like, nah, you don't need that shit, bro. But from what I could tell, I think it's basically Alfendi saying the answer, I think? Investigate the crime scene is self-explanatory and I already talked about it earlier. And what does have a think about it even mean? Like, what is this option? I don't get it. What the hell is going on? Alright, so after all that fluff, we can finally begin playing the game for realsies. You're presented with different topics you need to investigate to help you come closer to the truth. To be honest, it's not particularly challenging when even the game tells you what to investigate. At the end of each topic, you're gonna get a question. Basically a question that's about your understanding of the crime scene and whatnot, and see if you paid attention first of all. And second of all, if you understand what all of the, what you investigated means. Honestly, I really like this. It makes the game more engaging, although I can't really say that these questions were hard or anything, especially when there are questions with obvious answers because the auto choice is obviously a joke answer. So once you have investigated every avenue, it is time to confront the culprit in a battle of wits. Basically, this entire section is just exposing the culprit pretty much. I like the way they present this with the pointing arrows attacking the other side. That's just an aesthetic choice, but it's fun. This is where you solve the case. For the most part, I think the cases here are designed pretty well, all things considered, and I think they're unique enough where it only makes sense in a game like this one. There were moments where I felt like they fumbled a bit. Usually around towards the end, I find myself a bit confused on what are they talking about. Either it's when did we mention this, or just being a bit confused on the timeline of events. But for the most part, I think these cases are pretty good. I did mention earlier that there were some outliers. Case 6 is a bit of a twist on said formula, where every single person is dead and we have a missing witness, that being a food delivery boy. I really like just how ominous this case is, starting with investigating this massacre, to finally getting a hold of the witness, to finding out that a completely different person did the deed. Someone. One of these mafia boys basically murdered everyone else, and said mafia boy instead got murdered by her girlfriend. It's crazy because this case presents things that if you slap whatever happens way later on, it makes no sense at first glance. This was a pretty unique case, all things considered, and I really liked it. Another way different case is case 7, where it's pretty much a puzzle room. You don't investigate a murder or anything, just you trying to find a way inside this person of interest who went missing since case 4 hidden spot, and you also learn she was responsible for case 6. Yep, this is where the plot of the game resides. For the most part, the cases are pretty self-contained stories, but cases 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9 form together the story because of certain key players, namely a lady by the name of Diane Makepeace. This game also has pun names for a lot of the characters. Diane was pretty much always lurking beneath the surface before becoming more active, starting with case 8. Although, okay, I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but I think this girl, I mean, in case 4, she was disguised as this specific person. These people are the same character.
Whoa! Is that fucking blackface, dude?
Other than that, she gets murdered and now you try to prove your partner is actually not guilty. This villain was compelling for like 2 seconds, I'm crying. This section of the game is the most difficult part because you're gonna spend a lot of time shuffling through, the many floors looking for clues and whatnot. Even though, in hindsight, I think only the top floor is like the only relevant place, and a little bit of the 4th floor, I don't know. I think they pretty much designed an entire castle just because they felt like it. Also, hilarious that the evil fucked up hamburger side of Alfendi is actually how he normally is, and his other persona is just a brainwashed version of him. And you know what? I like evil fucked up hamburger Alfendi. He is fun and he is crazy, and he pulls no punches whatsoever. I did not expect him to call his colleagues troglodytes. That came from inside his soul, god damn! You know what? Speaking of which, I remember at one point mid-sentence someone said, "Don't be an ass." Like, this game casually has its characters talk mad shit to each other. This is way too peak to be not talked about. Give me more characters who trash talk other people, full on unhinged shit. And don't skimp on swears, thank you very much. 2 more things I noticed while I was finishing the game, and one is that for how much this old guy named the Commissioner was active during this one thing that happened 4 years ago, he sure as hell is not relevant in the slightest during the present. And 2, I'm so sorry developers, but my ass is not gonna go hunting for hidden objects in this giant castle with like 5 floors. You can take that concept and shove it up your ass. I had to use a guide for this final bit. My life is fucking ruined. And that's pretty much it. Layton Brothers Mystery Room is an interesting little experiment of a game that I had a great time playing. One thing that will remain stuck in my head is definitely the soundtrack. Such a phenomenal jazzy soundtrack. All of the songs here are top tier. The characters were pretty serviceable. Lucy and Alfendi are fun enough characters. They somehow remind me of Phoenix and Maya if they were competent at doing detective work. The cases were fun to solve. Evil fucked up hamburger Alfendi is the best thing about this game. I kinda love this character. Diane Makepeace was a character in this game. I don't care, smash. Overall, game is good. Wish this got a more modern re-release and it not being stuck inside a mobile app. See, this is why this game was not successful. It's because you had to spend money to fully play through it. You can't do that. You see, no, you're not allowed to do that, level 5. Mobile gamers only spend money on live service and gacha winner games, not fully completed paid experiences. Like, what are you, stupid? Actually, don't answer that question, I beg of you. Anyways, if you are a Layton fan, then I suggest you check this game out whenever you get a version that has everything unlocked, or you actually spend some money to access the rest of the game. It's up to you. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.